views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Russell. Welcome to the Healing Light Podcast. I am a psychic intuitive who's been reading tarot cards for over 25 years. I'm also Reiki certified. Join me as I read cards, share intuitive messages, promote healing, and much, much more. Hi everyone, it's Cailtin from the Healing Light NH, and thank you for listening to the Healing Light Podcast on Spreaker. I don't have a guest tonight, and I thought I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about for a topic. I haven't done this in a long, long time. I think it was my introductory episode, and then I did one on Mercury in retrograde. So I wanted to start a segment called Snippets. So snippets are going to be 10, 15 minutes, just little small topics, just for fun, something different, something fun. So rather than the long 30 minutes to 40 minutes to sometimes an hour with guests that I have. So as always, you can find me on social media, the Healing Light NH, on Facebook, Twitter, or X as it's called now, TikTok, Instagram as well. I do have a website, www.thehealinglightnh.com. If you have a show idea, if you want to have a guest, have me interview a guest that you're interested in, or anything else you'd like to see in the show, any feedback that you have, any suggestions, I from them all, you can email me at thehealinglight1, that's thehealinglight1, at gmail.com. So I thought I would pull a tarot card that I wanted to spotlight. When I do readings, tarot cards, each one has meaning depending on the different suits, and each level has their own meaning. However, when I have read tarot, yes, I kind of go by what the cards are. However, I really follow my my intuition. So I use energy from the person I'm reading for to get a feel of the situation of the past, present, and future influences. So one of the cards that I want to spotlight is the King of Wands. So wands in the tarot have a lot to do with how our minds work, why we make the choices we do, why our favorite color choice we have to how we have our coffee every day. So it's the everyday decisions and the way that you think. How does your mind work? Now, kings in the tarot can represent a person. Sometimes it's a male, or it could be a male with feminine tendencies, or it could be a woman. And they are generally older, and they're wiser, they're established, kings, rule their kingdom with confidence. So if it's somebody that if it represents someone who is in your life or coming into your life, just know that they're highly intelligent. Sometimes are, they're not really that warm and fuzzy. Sometimes not that they can be cold and distant, but they're more of an intellectual nature than anything else. So unlike the King of Cups, and cups are our emotions, they're all about love, where those rule your emotion, or swords, which are very blunt and to the point and kind of, you know, um, not no warm and fuzzies there. Wands are kind of in the middle. If this represents a quality in yourself, just know that the progress that you're making in this life is more about reasoning and logic. So you always, on a course, follow your gut, your instinct, of course, but there's a certain logic, and a lot of that comes from experience. So you'll find this card coming up a lot for those who are, I would say, late 30s, in their 40s and 50s and older. People who have learned their life lessons. So these are good qualities to embrace. So I just want to spotlight that. And I always say that, that's just one card. So when I do a reading, I tend to read probably 10 to 12, if not more, cards. And I don't really have a set uh, reading type. The Celtic cross maybe, but I have variations and I jump around. So I'm just explaining one card, but it really depends on what the other cards are. So I just want to spotlight the King of Wands, so that when you have a reading, you'll have an idea of what were the messages that we are receiving. Whoever reads for you. Hopefully, that's me. All right, so I wanted to pull an oracle card, and these are more about messages from my spirit guides that I get, and I generally pull one once a day. And the message today is, this is the Woodland Wardens Oracle deck, and it's a really, really pretty deck, really wonderful illustration, and the author is Jessica Roux, Roux. So it's woodland creatures, flora and fauna. This is the snake and fern, and the message today is starting over. I've had this experience myself a lot lately, where you just can't seem to get out of your way. Some days things are just not working out in your favor. You're fumbling and stumbling, and people are saying no when you want them to say yes, and you're late for work, or something happens and your computer crashes, as mine did today, when I was in the middle of a meeting. So that was fun. So starting over basically means that every day you get a chance to start over. Yesterday is the past. The future hasn't happened yet. This is also a great topic about mindfulness, and it's a great lesson to learn, where you're in the present, you're in the now, you're starting over. So don't ever feel that if you have a bad day, a rough day, when things just aren't going your way, that means that's it, because you do get a chance to start over. So I wanted to share that with you. And then I thought I would do something a little fun and a little different. So I'm going to start this with a caveat. I do not disclose my political inclinations at all in my Healing Light business on my podcast.
I'm learning how to choose the right audio.
I feel that that's the way that my healing business is, and the readings that I do are non-religious, they're non-political, and they're meant for all types of people. Women, men, young, old, whoever you are. If you want to receive messages from tarot or receive messages from your loved ones in spirit, or you want a Reiki healing session, then that is not religious at all. These are spiritual practices. That being said, when I've had visions, when I meditate, I get a really nagging feeling that this is something that needs to be talked about. And I will also say that these are my visions and my visions alone. Nobody tells me what to say. I wouldn't listen to them anyway if they did. Nobody puts any thoughts into my head. I meditate and I free write into what the vision is and what my spirit guides tell me. So I thought I would talk about the upcoming election in 2020. And it doesn't matter, like I said, what your political inclination is. This is just what I'm seeing. So in terms of Trump's case that he wants brought in front of the Supreme Court about presidents being immune from prosecution, it will come down to the Constitution. It does not work in his favor, but it is close. But ultimately, it comes down to the Constitution. So, as we all know, he was it was in the news for being found guilty on 34 counts. However, he will be the Republican nominee, and he will still run for president. In terms of his sentencing, which is set for July 11th, I actually do not see him with prison time. I see a very lengthy probation period with huge fines, but this still is a conviction, so that will stand. And this is definitely on his record. So, in regards to his other trials about January 6th, I see that people closest to him, when faced with probable jail time, are going to make deals, and they'll turn on him, basically, is how that works. And I see him down the road, being on trial for that. So in terms of the election itself, I see quite a few of his former supporters who will do a write-in candidate. They will not vote for either or. I do see that the news organizations, TV, anywhere you get your news, with the exception of very few legitimate sources, and those are few and far between, have it all wrong. The polls are all wrong, and Biden wins by a larger margin. I think everyone thinks it's going to be close, but my guys are telling me this is actually going to be 56%, which is a pretty big margin. The surprise is, and also that Biden will also win the popular vote as well. Trump, I see, will take states like Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina. But the exception is Ohio. That's a big loss there. The surprise is Texas. It's closer than it has ever been, and is the last state, believe it or not, to report results. Trump wins it, but by a very small margin, only by a handful of votes. The people who I see are voting when they do the exit polls are blue-collar workers who came out in droves and cite union support and other laws and legislation that favor the middle class. Women are also out in droves, and they have basically the highest numbers, and they're citing the elimination of Roe v. Wade. The majority of the Hispanic voters will go to Trump, but he wins votes of people with color. He will not lose his base. There are those who will stay loyal with him to the end, and their primary voting feeling is the border and what they see as an economy that is failing. So this was a really hard decision I had to bring this topic up, but like I said, that doesn't, I'm not sharing anything political. I'm just telling you what my vision is, and of course, this is the vision that I have now. So, that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So I think we're going on like 10 minutes. So my goal was to do between 10 and 15 minutes. I'll do more of these on little different topics, and I will. Hopefully, you'll listen. So that's my little snippet for tonight. Thank you very much for listening to the Healing Light podcast on Spreaker. And once again, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok as the Healing Light NH. And you can visit my website, www.thehealinglightnh.com. And if you have suggestions, feedback, or want a guest on the show that you're passionate about, then shoot me an email at thehealinglight1@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful night.